the way I was training was not helping my health in a lot of ways. And so I had to take a big step back and not really focus on performance goals. I had to fix a lot of things, 2 years ago to actually get pregnant.
Welcome to the show. I am Coach Jay. I am here today with
Coach Heidi.
Coach Heidi, who is like one of our longest and most frequent, I won't even call it guest, you're just a host. Yeah. And it's been such a long time since we've talked on the show. So yeah, a lot of things have changed. You got pregnant and had a baby.
Yep.
And the baby is now
5 months.
5 months.
Yeah.
And even the journey to sort of getting pregnant took a lot of like.
Yeah. That was a thing.
Yeah.
For sure. That was almost a year and a half.
So Heidi's been kind of off the scene for like 2.5 years.
Kind of, just not full on for 2.5 years. Yeah.
Not really off the scene.
No, I've still been here.
Yeah. Still been here spreading the joy that you spread.
Yeah.
So I thought today we would talk about goals because,
Yep.
a lot of things have changed for you in the last 2.5 years.
For sure.
Clearly a lot of things have changed for me and for everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my favorite topics to talk to you about is goals and habits and, how to sort of make things happen when it doesn't look like it's going to be possible.
For sure.
So, let's get into it.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's get scrappy.
So the first question I had for you, which is really interesting because it's kind of the first question I have for you is like, what are your goals now? What are your sort of physical goals? And I know it's a tough one to answer.
Yeah.
Given.
Yeah. I mean, everything kind of shifts, but I don't even want to say it's to get back to where I was or anything, but there are a few specific metrics that tell me, okay, I still have it, right?
Yeah.
So being able to do multiple pull-ups is a big one, and that is kind of a solid overarching goal because to do gymnastics, you have to be in a place, in terms of not just nutrition, but like your body composition has to be in a place where you feel pretty good, light on your feet. Like I'm not going to say I'm trying to get lean, but trying to get so I can do things, right?
Yeah.
And then also getting back to some lifting and strength numbers, in part because it's fun. Yeah. And then the second part is like, okay, again, I still got it, right? I can still squat 200 pounds. I'm not old and broken. So those kind of stand out.
The last 2 years, you've kind of been in like maintenance mode,
Totally.
Right? Yeah.
I have not been actively pursuing much of any fitness goal other than to feel good. Yeah. I had to fix a lot of things, 2 years ago to actually get pregnant. And so I had to take a huge step back from performance. It was like, the way I was training was not helping my health in a lot of ways. And so I had to take a big step back and not really focus on performance goals. So that's a big deal. Yeah. Yeah.
I remember us talking about this and like, I was kind of watching you go through this. I feel like it's what you were doing is harder than like, what I'm doing. Like, I'm going to try to get, a strict handstand push-up. Like that's way easier because it's just like out of your reach. Yeah. And you're intentionally, kind of holding yourself back. It's just like,
restraint is not my strong suit.
Yes.
Restraint is not something that I'm great at. And I think you're right that finding the right mix and being patient enough to wait for the data, like this is actually getting you to this other goal that's harder to measure. Yeah. Right? A handstand push-up. Did I do it? Did I not? Yeah. Right? Trying to get pregnant or trying to resolve something with your hormones or health, it's like you have to wait so long for the data. And you have to be so patient with your training. And you have to watch all of your friends do cool shit when you're like, I want to squat clean and I can't do that today. But it's not I can't. I choose not to.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I won't
hard.
be doing that today.
I'm not going to do that today. Bad idea.
Yeah. Yeah. And I remember there were days where you would like kind of go, like overboard just because that's what you do. And then you're like, I can't do that again for 3 weeks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like that was not the right answer. Yeah. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, that's hard. The one thing I will say though, as I've noticed kind of since you've been back, you can still do a lot of stuff.
So the first time I noticed this was actually when I was really, really pregnant and we were filming the videos for the throwdown and we were filming a video for my workout. Yeah. And it was rowing and front squats and whatever else. Yeah. I couldn't row for shit. Like I literally couldn't reach my feet. Yeah. But then I picked up 105 pounds, I think, on the squat bar and I banged out a bunch of front squats like nothing. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I can still do that. And I literally hadn't done it in probably 6 months at that point. But it's nice to know that I can still perform that in some ways. And also, you know, it lends yourself to realizing I haven't lost everything.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Like, I think what's been most impressive is, you know, it's interesting. It's almost like watching you start over again, like discovering what you can do.
Yeah.
And what you can do is still way more than what you could do when you started.
That's the truth.
Yeah. And you're kind of like, oh, look at that. I'm squatting 200 pounds. Or, you know, oh, I'm able to, what was that thruster that you did the other day?
135.
Yeah. Oh, 135 thruster.
Fine.
Yeah. After doing all the running and burpees and stuff. And you almost beat me on that workout.
I know.
yeah. And that was like the third workout or something that you did.
Yeah.
And it's like there is some, like I always like to think about this as, you know, you put all this time and effort into, you know, getting stronger and developing these skills and doing all these things. And when you do that, it doesn't go away overnight.
No, not at all. I think the thing that, the only thing that had to ramp back up was my nervous system. Quite honestly, as soon as I've had a few heavy weights on me, I'm like, oh, I can still do that. And that's been the biggest growth thing. It's not the strength.
Yeah.
Maybe it's the soreness.
Yeah.
But soreness and nervous system, everything else, like I've still hit most of the numbers or within 10% of where I was, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, what's interesting about this is when I asked you this question about your goals, you kind of like listed off a few things.
Yeah.
And, you know, you and I both know in 6 months, those things will be like, you'll be like, yeah, I did that 3 months ago. And I kind of wonder just in general for goals, do you set goals? Do you like go, okay, I want this by this date? Or is it always just kind of like I want to improve in general? Like, how does that work for you?
I think with goals, I'm a little bit more granular in that I'll set a smaller goal and see if I can like exceed it sooner. Yeah. Right. So a great example of this, the other day, Rebecca and I signed up for a swim meet. Right. And I spent 20 seconds lining up some times that I think I could conservatively hit and hopefully crush. Yeah. Right. Just to benchmark it. Yeah. And I think the first step of this is just finding a realistic benchmark. And for me, I'd like to take a lot of the pressure off. Yeah. So for instance, I submitted a minute 30 for my 100 freestyle. Yeah. My time back when I was 12 was a minute 5. Right. So I'm like, okay. And in training, the 3 times I've been in the pool, I've swam a minute 40 and not full on.
Wait, okay. I don't know how this works. You have to submit your times for to sign up for the meet. Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
So you can't not submit a time. And so they're just like, well, if you don't know, make it up.
What is this like? Tell me what you're doing at this meet.
Yeah, so it's just a master swim meet. Rebecca just randomly talked me into it. Just like, hey, you want to do this? I'll do this. I'm like, okay, fine.
So it's like you go and compete in 100 meters or whatever.
Yeah, totally. And so this specific one is 100 meter events for each stroke. Yeah. And then you could do 200 IM, and I put my name in. If they need someone for a relay, I would totally swim a relay. Right. So I'm not swimming 100 fly because I'm not there. Yeah. I hated that event even when I was in my best shape. Like, I'm not into it.
I didn't even know you could do this.
Oh, yeah. Huh. For sure. Master swimming is totally a thing. Huh. Now you're going to get sucked into it.
I've seen sure there's swim. A lifeguard.
I think you could swim 100. I think you could do it. Without sinking.
What's the lowest time you could submit?
Anytime. So here's how
Can you walk half of it?
You can't put your feet on the ground. You can't actually hang on to the wall.
Can I swim vertically? Because that's how I swim.
You do swim vertically.
Wait, can I bring a wetsuit?
Oh,
and
that's
flippers?
A good question. You can't use flippers.
Can someone pull me with a rope? Yeah, I'll do it then.
Yeah, definitely. Just hold on to the rope, and Rebecca and I will swim you like a chariot. It'll be great.
You know, if there was, poolside muscle ups afterwards, then maybe I'll have a shot.
So speaking of which, that was another thing. Okay, so tangent. When I first started getting back into the pool, I tried to get myself out of the pool, and I literally flopped myself on the deck. Like I could not get out. Yeah. And I had this moment of, oh shit, like I don't know if I'm going to be okay. Like, then this is the first time in the pool since being pregnant and kind of the first few weeks I was working out again. Yeah. And I texted Rebecca. I was like, am I going to be okay? Like I literally couldn't get out of the pool. Like I got myself out of pure stubbornness. I got my ribs out and like blobbed myself onto the deck of the pool. I was just like, I have never felt that weak ever. And she's like, Heidi, You don't have any core. Like, stop worrying about that. It's going to be fine. Use the ladder if you need to. I was like, no. Yeah. Anyway, that was one of those gut check benchmarks. I was always able to just like, boop, pop out of the pool. Totally fine. So yeah, I signed up for this swim meet and
can I just hit pause on that?
Totally.
Cause like, I mean, you say that, you know, after pregnancy, there was definitely a time for me when I was like in my worst shape where I couldn't do that. Yeah. Right. I couldn't get out of the pool. And like, it was a little bit of like not being strong, a little bit of just being too heavy. Yeah. And there's my example for that is like, I remember snowboarding and I couldn't get up. Yep. It was just like, I'd have to roll over and get onto my knees and then
stand up.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, there's little things like that. Yeah. That, you know, happen like not often. Yeah. Like once every 3 to 6 months, where if you have been taking care of yourself, it feels awesome. Yeah. And if you have not, totally, it feels horrible.
Like it makes you want to cry. Yeah. And it's not a big thing. Yeah. Like I had no problem swimming. It was the little thing that I was like, uh-oh.
Yeah. 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 And like, I notice that now because, you know, when like lifting things is not a big deal, but like, it's fine. But like if my shoulder bothers me and like I try to do something like throw something and then my shoulder bothers me, it's like, oh my God, will I ever be able to throw something again? Totally. and that actually motivates me. It's like, all right, I need to work on this every single day. Cause like, what's the point if you can't use your shoulder? What's the point if you can't like run 600 meters with your son, right? And it's like all of those little things, as you get older, they become way more important because you know, like there is a point, maybe we'll discover this point, maybe not, maybe we will die first, but there is a point where you might not be able to do that stuff again. Right. Totally. And like, whenever you feel like, oh, I might not be able to do that stuff again, to me, that's like a sign of, okay, is that true? And then it's time to take some action. And for me, actually, a lot of my goals come from that stuff. Yeah. So 100%.
And I think that stuff's more impactful than hitting a PR in the gym. Yeah. Like, I'm not upset that I can't hit my old strength numbers. I'm upset that I can't get my ass out of the pool because I've never not been able to do that. Yeah. And, you know, it's a metric that is really meaningful because it's something you've always been able to do and something you want to be able to do just casually. Yeah. Right? Yeah. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. And those are the things that like you want to pay attention to because you're training, like, yeah, it's awesome to be able to back squat, whatever. Yeah. But is there a big difference between 200, 250, 300? Not really. No. But there is a big difference between, you know, you being able to stand up with a snowboard on your feet, right?
And I think too, it might be because we're already kind of in that top % of fitness, right? Yeah. If I can squat 200 pounds, I'm better than, you know, 95% of the women my age as it is. Yeah. So it's not even the difference between 200 and 250, like, sweet, I'm getting stronger. That's amazing. Yeah, yeah. That's great. Yeah. But if I feel something like, oh, I can't get it out of the pool, that's like, I'm in the middle of the pack, if not worse.
Well, okay, so that is a great point. And a lot of people, when they come in, they meet you. We actually have a video about this. Like, I saw that. Everyone wanted to be like Heidi. I saw that. When they started. Yeah. Well, a lot of people come in, they meet you or they meet me, and they're just like, oh, yeah, these guys, you know, whatever, they're in the top, like you said, whatever percentage.
Yeah, it wasn't always that way.
You know, that might not be true, actually. They say like, oh, yeah, you're in the top 5% of whatever. It's like, I don't know. Let's line everyone up and see how much you can squat. Let's see. But anyways, the point is, the thing that is actually unique is that you and I have both been those people that couldn't do the thing at all.
At all. Like, right? Not happening.
Like, couldn't do a pull-up. Yeah. Couldn't do a push-up. Yeah. Couldn't, you know, get yourself out of the pool. Yep. You know, had like got winded standing up. Yeah. You know. For sure. Like all of those things.
Couldn't make it down a ski hill.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Totally. Your legs hurt too much or you just like breathing too hard or whatever. And to go from that to like, you know, being in whatever top percentage. Sure. It's like for me, you almost had to have that point where you're just like, wait, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. Like,
it makes you really appreciate it.
Yeah. Like, think of all the things I used to be able to do as an athlete, and now I can't do this. Yeah, totally. And it's like, okay, we gotta fix this, and we gotta fix it so it never, ever, ever happens again. Yep. And like, I think that's the part where I'm just so much more inspired when I watch our athletes here.
Yeah.
I'm just so much more inspired by somebody who started from that spot.
For sure.
And got themselves to a point that is well beyond anything they could have imagined. I think that's one of the reasons you and I like talking about this stuff, is because we know that feeling.
Yeah, totally. So. It's cool to watch people that are naturally athletic. It's like, oh wow, that looks really easy for you. But that, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
I'm really happy for you.
Yeah.
That's great.
You inspire me to see what's possible.
Yeah, exactly. But also I'm going to be cheering for the person who I know has had to put in the hard work to get where they are, and like
to just get to normal.
Right. And they're so appreciative, because, it's not just the PR. I wrote an email about this the other day. It's not just, oh, I'm able to do burpees really fast. It's I'm able to get down and play with my kids, and I'm going to be able to get down and play with my grandkids. Yeah. And all of these things. And you kind of see that you give them their life back, more or less. Yeah. And you don't realize how important it is until you have that, oh shit moment of, oh, this isn't normal. I used to be able to do this without problem. And now like I can't casually enjoy my hobbies. Yeah. This isn't cool.
Yeah. 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 That's, it's funny, up until a few years ago, people would come in and say, oh, it's really important for me to play with my kids. Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, that sounds nice. Yeah. And, I've been running every day with Tiger for the last, 3 weeks or something. And the first time we did it, like I've been having like knee problems and foot problems. And I was just like, man, this hurts. Like, I don't want to do this. Yeah. And I was like, wait, I better do this. Yeah. Like, you're going to miss out on your kid. Yeah. I'm going to miss out on spending time with him. And maybe he wants to become a runner. And this is the thing that inspires him. And if I can't do it, then I can't help him to do that. Anyways, you're doing a swim meet. Yeah.
I guess the main point is really I had to enter these times. And so I picked times that I'm like, I'm pretty sure I could hit these even now, even without, I've been in the pool like 4 times. Yeah. But I like to kind of chip away and exceed that first goal. So I feel like I have some momentum. And then if I choose to set another goal from there, great. Like maybe I'll get more granular. But one, I don't know where I'm at. Yeah. And so it doesn't really... I haven't had to perform, so it doesn't really mean anything if I just pick a random number and I'm like, oh, I'm going to hit 110. Yeah. I'm going to hit 115. Yeah. Because I know that what I need to do is train consistently and I need to push the intensity. But what I don't know is I might have already hit it. Yeah. Right? And that was true of setting a goal when I came back in. And so I like to approach it by getting a little win first. So I kind of pad my goal and then I go out and crush it. And then I'm like, okay, is this goal... do I want that last 10% or is this good enough? Yeah. And I can focus on something else. Yeah. So that's kind of how I approach it.
That's how I approach goals too.
Yeah, there you go.
Like I used to, really have it in my mind, like I need to hit this thing. And I remember when I was training for the London Marathon, it was like, I have to hit 4 hours. Right. And I was just like, every training run, I would hit some times to try to hit those 4 hours. And if I didn't hit the times, it was like, okay, I need to make some adjustments. And it was a great training program. Like it really helped. But on the day it was like 4 hours and 40 minutes or something. And it was like I didn't hit it because I got dehydrated. I didn't know how to deal with that. And I cramped up and whatever. And it just kind of taught me like, actually, didn't really matter. No. I don't really care. I mean, I even kind of signed up for another one to see if I could hit it. And I was like, I'm not feeling it. I don't care about that time. Mm-hmm. What I care about mostly is, am I doing things that will help me get better in this arena? Yep. And so, when I sit down and I think about my goals, I used to sit down and say, okay, I want to be able to do like 5 muscle ups and I want to hit this workout in this time. And I want to, run a 400 meter in this time and squat this much. And like, if I do all that, I'll be an amazing athlete. And it's like, well, I mean, what if I just try to get better every day? Yeah. And then I'll be the most amazing athlete I could be. Mm-hmm. And maybe I'll hit those times and maybe I won't. Yeah. And it will be a lot less stressful in the process.
And if you have fun training one of those specific things, set a goal around it. Sure, the 5 muscle ups, if you're digging gymnastics and learning something new and it feels like it's moving the needle in like your life experience, great. Yeah. But if it's an old sport that you swam, like, I swam from when I was 11 until, 18 at a high enough level, I'm never going to get back to those times and it's not my goal. Yeah. I don't need to beat myself. Yeah. But maybe in training, I can go swim Alcatraz. Maybe in training, I can do a great open water swim in Tahoe that gets me out in the outdoors. Like, as long as I can do those things, I'm good. I'm going to move on to training something else that might spark interest or joy more.
So, you know what is really interesting? You say I'll never hit those times again. I think in the back of your head, you actually think you could hit those times.
If I put in the work.
Yes. You just want to get close enough
Yeah.
to know that if you put in the work, that you can hit those times.
Yeah.
That's how I look at it.
Yep, that's exactly it.
It's just like, okay, so my best mile time is 6 minutes,
Yeah.
right? Just like 6 minutes flat.
Mm-hmm.
God, that was one of the more painful after workout things I've
I
ever.
remember that
Yeah.
day.
And I'm like, will I ever hit 6 minutes again?
Yeah.
I don't know. But could I get like 6.5, 6:45
Totally.
to where I feel like if I put an effort in this, then I can get sub 6 minutes.
Basically to be within striking range
Yeah.
of peak
Yeah.
without specializing so much that you give up on the other stuff.
Yeah. And without driving yourself insane. Because now you have other things in your life that matter besides doing swim
Like,
meets.
how much joy does it bring you to be 5 seconds faster on 100 free?
Yeah.
Not at all. How much joy is it going to bring you to swim to the point and back with your kids someday? Like, that's going to be great.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think when I think about goals, I always think, can I get myself to that sort of 80, 90% range? And then you can you don't want to just think about maintenance. That's one thing, that's one trap that I've fallen into is just like, I get to the 90% range and then I'm like, cool, I'll just maintain this. And the maintenance turns into I'm going to fall back into habits.
Sure.
I do think it's important to push that range.
Yeah.
What is the 90%?
Yeah.
Well, maybe your 90% is you actually hitting, 100 or whatever, 1 minute, 500 meter.
We'll call it 110.
110. Yeah.
That's fine.
Or maybe it is, a sub 6 minute mile because you've overall gotten so fit.
Sure.
That that is just part of what you do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think the other part of that is, as you get older, there are some things both from a time perspective and just just your body aging perspective that are just not going to be always possible.
Yeah.
And I think part of letting yourself have a goal that is a little more general allows you to make room for those.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love it.
So I don't know where we got to with the goals. But I do want to share one thing. And we have only about 5-10 minutes here.
Yeah.
So I've been thinking about goals a lot lately, and you and I have talked a lot about this. How do I approach goals and habits, so that you can continue to sort of move things forward?
Yeah.
And I've been doing this mostly for myself, but I've also been helping a few other people with it. And so I'm just really curious as how you're approaching it this time. So what I've done is I will set a just general goal. I'm going to get to, whatever. For me, it's usually a body fat percentage. I'm going to get to somewhere between 8 and 12% body fat, right? And that's the general direction. And really that's the, actually, okay, let's take this back. The way I set the goal is I do WOOP, wish, outcome, obstacle, plan. We've talked about this before. So the wish is I want to get in the best shape of my life. The outcome is 8 to 12% body fat. The biggest obstacle is consistency around nutrition.
Sure.
Right. And I also added mobility, different things that happen there. And then the plan is develop some daily habits to help with those things. Right. And so for me, what that meant was, okay, I've got this general goal, 8 to 12% body fat. What I want is, or it's not general goal, it's a specific goal, 8 to 12% body fat. What I know I need to do is consistent with nutrition, consistent with mobility so I don't hurt. So every day I will hit my numbers and do my mobility. And my commitment was, I was doing about 6 days a week before. So I said, for 100 days, I'm just going to do it for 7 days a week.
Wow.
And I think today is day 40 or something like that.
Yeah.
I've hit almost all the goals already.
That's awesome.
Which is really interesting.
Yeah.
Because in 6 weeks you can hit all those goals, and now is where it gets hard.
Yeah.
It's actually so easy to hit the goal. Now is where it gets hard.
Yep.
Now it's I got another 60 days of maintaining this minimum.
Yeah.
And that's actually the only reason I would set a goal in the first place.
Yeah.
Is to get to the part where, because you know,
that's where the work starts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's easy when you're chasing something, and when you caught it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
now
what's my incentive to still do this?
Why do you want to keep chasing?
Yeah.
So I actually define this a little differently this time. I don't really think about the goal as much. I think about the practice.
Yeah.
And what I've been, and I mean, I've done this before, right? But this time it was like all about the practice. It was just like, okay, 10 things, 100 days, let's do that. How do we make sure that we're doing that?
Yeah.
And whatever happens is like, oh, look at that. So I'm curious for you, because we've talked about this before. We've talked about journaling or whatever.
Yeah.
Do you have a practice like this that you use for yourself?
It's a lot less official. And especially lately, it's been hard to carve out time to do things, right? And so there are two things I'm focusing on. One, not doing nothing.
Yeah.
Right? On those days where I have Liam all day and I just cannot wrap my brain around chores and all these other things. I just take him for a walk.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I know that half an hour carrying a kid around is still going to be enough of a workout that I'm not doing nothing, right?
Yep.
And then the second part is I'm trying to latch on to the things that I love doing and use them as like my time, right? So for instance, I set aside my Wednesdays. I'm like, this is the hill I'm going to die on. I'm taking my hour on Wednesdays on my day off and I'm going to the pool. And so even on the days that I miss them, so for instance, I have a shoulder thing I've been working out. I need to do my mobility to get myself closer to feeling good so that the next week I can go back and do that.
Yeah.
And if I miss it because, hey, we have plans or whatever, again, I still need to do the thing that is going to make that thing easier next week. So even on Wednesday, no matter what, there's still some focus.
Yeah.
Like swimming feels great because I have an hour to myself. My shoulders feel amazing afterward. I get water on my face, whatever.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to latch on to at least doing the shoulder stuff or at least, checking that box.
Yeah.
And then on the gym side, I started just a basic strength program because I love lifting and I need to just latch back on to really enjoying what I'm doing. I'm not really worried about the numbers. I've pushed it a little bit. That's great. But I just need to do the thing. I need to check the box.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it Monday, Thursday, Friday. Here's where I'm lined out. And again, if I don't do the thing, I need to do the thing that makes that thing easier next week.
Yeah. Yeah. That's,
if that makes sense.
That's it.
I have a wonky ass hip. If I'm not squatting, damn it, use that time to do your mobility because I don't want that shit to be my excuse next week again.
Yeah.
So
man,
that's what I've been doing.
That is everything. Wow.
Yeah.
Mic drop right there. It's so good.
Yeah.
And this is exactly the way I think about it.
Yeah.
It's like the habit, the thing is the thing. Mm-hmm. The goal is not the thing.
Totally.
It's the doing the thing.
It's doing the thing.
Every so often, you have to look at the things that you're doing and make sure that they are taking you a direction you want to go.
Yeah.
Because if you're not getting stronger, you're not, being able to swim more, you're not preparing for
But as long as I'm
meet.
hitting that box, whatever.
How often do you check that part? Do you say am I on track or not?
Yeah. So if I go a week without doing these things, I get really cranky. So it's kind of self-regulating. I get really mad.
Yeah.
I haven't really been...
I just imagine you just like...
I'm so mean.
Heidi, need weights. You don't like me when I'm angry.
I don't know what's worse, me when I'm hungry or me when I haven't worked out, but they're both horrible people that you don't want to meet. Yeah, so it's self-regulating. If I don't do something for about 3 days, I'm so mean that I have to put myself on timeout. So I don't really find that I have to check it.
Well, what I mean by that is like, okay, so you got these practices around lifting weights and swimming or whatever, but like, how do you know that it's taking you where you want to go?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So in my workouts, I'll build some challenge in. Like, hey, last week I did sets at 2 minutes. Let's see if I can shave 10 seconds off the rest. Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to lift a little heavier this week. Let's see how it goes. There will be a test built in probably every 4 to 8 weeks where it's like, okay, this got a little boring or this feels easy. Let's see if I can do a little better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you ever ask yourself, like, do I even want this goal anymore?
Totally.
Yeah. How often do you do that?
Usually in the middle of my set of 15 squats. Or in the middle of my set of 10 hundreds where I'm like, I hate this distance so much. Why am I still doing this? Constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly. When I'm doing the thing, do I like this? Do I love to hate this? What am I doing? Why am I doing this? And then usually I come around to, because overall this is going to make me feel really great. Even if I don't really care about the squat number, it's the bigger picture.
There's like this gut feeling you have, like I'm moving in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly. It's there's a lot of self-dialogue and self-talk that goes into it when you're really miserable in the middle of doing the work.
Yeah.
And I love doing the work, but sometimes I hate it. And I'm like, is this important? Is this specific thing important? And it's never about that specific thing.
Yeah.
Like, squatting is just a proxy for the fact that my hips and my low back are feeling good enough that I can do the things I need to do. It's kind of the higher level of that, right?
Yeah, this is deep. All right.
Swimming tells me, hey, my endurance isn't crap. And if I choose to go somewhere in summer, like, I can go do the thing I want to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we could do a whole episode about this.
Yeah.
But we got to end this one.
Yeah.
Man, it is. We could have gone so many different directions today. It is so amazing to sit down and talk with you about this stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know many people that think through this as much as you do.
Well, when you swim, you have a lot of time to yourself to think about it.
Yeah, you swim those long distances too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, appreciate y'all for listening. Say thanks to Coach Heidi.
Thank me.
Yeah, thank her.
Thank me.
Make sure she's back on by saying thank you, writing us a review, and we'll see you all in the next one. Bye.